Hello golfers, Glen Osborne again with another in-studio instruction about something that I was sure to have showed my students how to overcome when I taught beginners. They're not very supple people and they had no time to do exercises to do such. They just wanted to be able to learn how to hit some nice golf shots without getting hurt, to enjoy a few sessions with their friends through the season, such as the ladies golf club or men's golf club. Alright, the topic is keeping your eye on the ball. I've got some text that I'll be interspersing with this video. The teaching is to keep your eyes positioned over the ball. I'm looking straight at the ball. I'll show it to you from this side. Position straight over the ball. That has been the main teaching. And the idea is to keep that eye position as you're doing your turns. However, to keep this head position like this inhibits your shoulder turn. I'll try to demonstrate. I'll do this. This is my first exercise for my golf students. They could go to a golf course and if they saw somebody else doing this exercise, oh, you took lessons from Glen. Yes, they did. Alright, now I'm going to keep my peak pointing down at the ball. Alright, I'm trying to generate a shoulder turn. That's it. My neck won't allow me to go any further. Alright, and here's a side view of it. Keeping my head pointing straight down, the peak of my hat pointing straight down. Turn. Can't do it any further. Alright. That does not allow a full shoulder turn. As I was doing this and trying to keep my head pointing straight down towards the ball, I was feeling all kinds of tension in my neck. This type of tension and turning tension. Holding a club, I'm going to do this maneuver, holding my head. I see this on TV a lot with the pros. They're keeping their head down. Oh, they've got a full shoulder turn. Oh my goodness, yes, what a good turn. Now if you put a club across your shoulders, yes. But if they're told to push their shoulder under their chin, that shoulder slouches. It's out of position. The front of the shoulder might show a full shoulder turn, but if you put this club across the shoulder blades, across your shoulder blades, it's nowhere near a full shoulder turn. Keeping your eye on the ball, the way it's taught, inhibited the full shoulder turn. I see this a lot with the attempt to keep your eye on the ball. Watch my head alignment to my breastbone. I'm going to try to do this, keeping this straight down at the ball. Turn, turn, turn. I'm tightening up. See it? Did you see what I did? Turn again. My head was leaning, tilting at the neck. Right here it tilted in an attempt to keep my eyes on the ball. This is not good. It's throwing your neck vertebrae right in that big vertebrae as it comes out of the shoulder apparatus. That vertebrae is in a lot of tension and could slip out or get hurt. We all know that when you turn so far, eventually your hips have to start turning a little bit. If we do get a complete shoulder turn, you notice my belt buckle has moved from here to here. Right. The reason for that is vertebrae are limited in their turn. So we start with the vertebrae between our shoulder blades. That's the master turn area. We turn, first vertebrae starts turning, the next one has to start turning, and so on down until we get to the vertebrae at the pelvis. They start to turn a little bit and cause the hips to rotate a little bit. Alright. Now, is there anything special about the vertebrae from the shoulder blades up into the head? Are they exceptional to the vertebrae going down? They are not. When you turn so far, here I am, I'm feeling tension in those vertebrae. The vertebrae down here are responding correctly, but I'm blocking off the vertebrae going upwards towards the point in where they enter the head. Alright? So turn, turn, turn. I'm blocking it off. This puts tension all up and down the whole spine. Here's something. Here's the neck vertebrae coming up into the back of the head. Alright. Notice where my eyes are. Even my head is forward from that vertebrae that enters the skull. Notice my eyes are at the front of my head and well forward from the vertebrae that enters the spine, or enters the skull. Notice also, and if you see this on, look it up on the internet or an encyclopedia, the shape of the spine comes out of the tailbone, up a little bit, arc goes in, back out, and this point here, where it comes back in, this arc here is where the vertebrae is between the shoulder blades. They turn first. Then as you go up to the head, they're going inward from that curve to about here. That, with these vertebrae between the shoulder blades being the controlling part of your turn, that means the vertebrae entering your head are arcing around that point. They're not turning in place straight above that point between the vertebrae. They are arcing because of the curvature and the neck position. They are arcing. The head is arcing around the vertebrae between your shoulder blades. Alright. Well forward of that point. Knowing this, as you try to, all your movement is around this point, when you turn that point, your head should be traveling an arc, not an in-place pivot point. It will travel in an arc around that vertebrae between the shoulder blades. To try and keep your eye on the ball while this is happening, watch my head arc around that point. My head starts here. That point is rotating. My head is swinging over in its arc. To try and block this off, to keep your eye on the ball, you get that head lean, or your turn stops. How did it ever come about that keeping your eye on the ball became keeping your eye sockets on the ball? We have peripheral vision, sideways vision. See this? My hands are here compared to my eyes. I can see them moving. The other thing is your eyeballs rotate in the sockets. They can look out of the corner of their eye. I have an example coming up in a minute or two how this played a role in getting a man some good golf swings when he couldn't before. Here's a question. How do blind golfers keep their eye on the ball? Obviously they don't. But yet there's a very prolific blind golfer group in the world. They get set up to the ball with a helper. What do they do to be able to get good hits? And they can get good hits. The key is knowing and feeling perfect turns around those points in the spine and keeping firmly in place as they make a simple turn move and maybe a little bit of an arm move. I've never seen this happening. I tried to find examples of it on the internet, but I got thinking, what I teach about my beginners, I could teach a blind person how to golf. Maybe not as perfectly as what's going on right now, but I could do it. I've got a hitting mat here. Ready? I set up here, close my eyes, turn, turn. The ball went somewhere, but I didn't get my eyes open. It went somewhere and bounced back straight across from where it was. So, in my text frames, you're going to see where I actually taught people a trick, beginners who were really catching on to these perfect turns in posture. I would have them get ready, set up to the ball. You ready? Yes. Close your eyes and hit the ball. First lady I ever did that with, she opened her eyes. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? And she's looking all along the ground. I said, it's way up in the air, soaring gracefully through to its landing spot about 100 yards away. She couldn't believe it. I had a student from Taiwan came to visit family in our local town. He came for golf lessons, 3 or 4. I told him about this, closing his eyes just before he swung. And he was still trying to win, getting fairly good swing. All of a sudden he hit a beautiful golf shot, and he looks, turns around with a smirk on his face. I cheat. I close my eyes. Well, that was kind of he had a feeling. He worked on the feeling of perfect turns in perfect posture.